Hi everyone, welcome to our free video series on how to pass the Unit 3 and 4 English exam for Year 12 students in WA, brought to you by Serofox Tutoring. This is just an introductory video going through the content of the video series as well as some tips for improving your English skills. Before we head on any further, just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Douglas and I'm the owner of Serofox Tutoring. If you want to contact us for any reason, all our contact details are on the screen and I'll include them in the description as well. Also, if you're a student in Perth looking for a private tutor, don't be afraid to hit us up and we'll see how we can help you. So the reason why we created this video series is to provide extra help to any Year 12 student struggling in English. We'll be covering all sections of the English exam, specifically Section 2, where we will be analyzing the film Gran Torino, which is what you guys voted for, and is directed by and starring Clint Eastwood. So if you don't know who he is, or if you haven't heard of the movie before, now might be a good time to check it out. As you can see, this is the timeline of what we'll be going through in the video series. There will only be one introduction video, so don't worry about that. But there will be multiple videos for Section 2. I'll most likely make 2 videos analyzing the film, and then I'll go into essay structure, exam question breakdown, and an analysis of a response from the 2017 English exam. I will also write a plan and essay for you guys so you guys can see my thought process in response to one of the exam questions from the 2017 English exam. As for Section 1, Section 1 is pretty easy once you understand Section 2, and most people don't have problems with Section 3, but we'll go through it since it's a good opportunity to score some easy marks as well to boost up your exam score. Okay, here are my top 3 tips on how to get better at English, and they're all interconnected, so pay close attention. So my first tip is to absorb more text, and what I mean by this is for you guys to read more and to watch more. And the purpose of this is for you to develop an understanding of the world and your general knowledge as well. Because English is not a standalone subject, right? You need to be able to draw from your experiences and knowledge to supplement your writing and your essays, and to write effective responses to prompts, especially in Section 3. This is why I always tell my students that people or students who have a general interest or actually study history, politics, and law and philosophy tend to have an advantage over other students. And the main topics you'll need to know about include Australian history, major conflicts such as World War II and Holocaust, and any other current issues in the modern world. The second reason is to improve your writing. The reason why a lot of students have trouble putting their thoughts into words is because they lack the words and phrases they need to express themselves in a concise way. The only way you'll be able to find these phrases is by copying what you read and what you hear, right? And developing your own word and phrase bank to properly express yourself. And this is also how you develop your own writing style, just by copying a little bit from a whole lot of places. The second tip I have is to write about what you like. A lot of my students didn't actually know this, but you can actually write about any text in the exam. I'm not sure about your in-class tests and your in-class essays. But in the exam, you have the freedom to do whatever you want. So I always recommend to pick a movie, TV show, or book that you like. And the reason for this is, first of all, you won't hate English as much. But second of all, you'll be able to write much better about it. How? The reason why you like the text in the first place is because it made you feel a certain way, or it elicits some sort of response from you. And because you've personally experienced this, it's so much easier for you to explain the process of how the techniques or the conventions in the text are used to create an effect. And with a book or movie you like, you're much more inclined to read more about it and watch interviews and remember quotes, etc. So you'll be naturally more prepared to take on the exam. The one caveat to this is to make sure you do pick a text that has multiple subject or topics which you can cover in depth. So don't pick something like Love Island or Paul Blart Mall Cop, because those kinds of movies or texts are mostly there to entertain and they don't really explore any issues in depth. And that's why there's a recommended list of texts from the School Curriculum and Standards Authority for people who can't make good decisions, okay? And those texts that they recommend are usually rich in subject matter to write about at a Year 12 level. But it's better if you can identify your own text that you like and that you have a connection with so that you can write better about it. The second point on the slide is kind of linked to the next tip, so I'll just cover it there. Critical thinking. So what does critical thinking mean? It means to think critically. No, okay? In the context of English, this means engaging your mind when you're reading a book or watching a movie and asking why you feel a certain response to the text, and then backtracking or backtracing this feeling to the techniques and the conventions that the author or the director is using to elicit this response from you. And the more you do this, or the more you practice, the better you'll be at analyzing text. And beyond your schooling life, this is one of the most important skills because it makes you less likely to be manipulated. This is because it's so much easier to manipulate someone when they don't know that they're being manipulated. And when you do understand that you're being manipulated and you are able to identify how some ad or some movie or some documentary is trying to manipulate you, you're more likely to resist, because the natural reaction for someone trying to manipulate you is to resist it. Okay, the final tip I have is to keep practicing. So the analogy I like to use is when you study for like a math or a science test or an exam, you do so many practice tests and like practice questions. But then when you study for an English exam or an English test, how many practice paragraphs or how many practice essays do you write? So the idea is that if you want to replicate your success in English when compared to other subjects, then you have to be prepared to do the same amount of work for it. And for students who are really struggling with English, don't be afraid to ask questions in the comments through our Facebook page or by emailing me directly. That's why we're making this video series in the first place, right? To help you guys out. So hopefully these videos do help, and if you have any suggestions or video ideas you'd like to see in the future, just leave a comment below or message me. So see you guys in the next video where we will be beginning our analysis on Gran Torino, and I wish you guys all the best. Thank you.